You think being available 24/7 makes you a good friend, a loving partner, a reliable person. Wrong. It makes you a fool, a convenient fool, a doormat with a pulse. You respond to texts in seconds while they leave you on red for hours. You drop everything for their emergencies while they're too busy for your birthday. You're not being caring, you're being conquered. And the saddest part? You defend the very people who wouldn't notice if you disappeared tomorrow. If this video found you right now, it's because your exhausted energy called it in. You're tired of giving everything and getting crumbs. You're done being everyone's emergency contact, but nobody's priority. What you're about to hear will sting, but it's the medicine you need. If this resonates with something deep in your chest, consider liking and subscribing for more brutal truths that set you free. If you're watching this right now, there's no coincidence. Your energy, your exhaustion, your frustration with always giving and never receiving, it all pulled this message into your reality. Because deep down, you already know something needs to change. You think you're being kind. You think you're being helpful. You think responding to every text within seconds, saying yes to every request, being everyone's emotional support animal makes you a good person. But here's what you're actually doing. You're bleeding yourself dry for vampires who wouldn't offer you a drop of water if you were dying of thirst. You wake up checking messages before your eyes fully open. You interrupt your own meals to answer someone's non-emergency. You abandon your plans because someone else had a bad day. And you call this love. You call this friendship. You call this being a good person. No, this is you being a doormat with a smile painted on it. Let me paint you a picture of your life right now. You're that person everyone calls when they need something, but nobody invites when they're celebrating. You're the emergency contact for emotional breakdowns, but never the first choice for fun plans. You get the crisis calls at midnight, but radio, silence when things are good. And you know what's the saddest part? You think this makes you valuable. You think being needed means being loved. Wrong. Dead wrong. You've confused being used with being useful. You've mistaken convenience for connection. You believe availability equals loyalty, but all you've done is train everyone around you to see you as a vending machine. Press the right buttons, get what they want, walk away. Here's a truth that will sting. The people you're always available for, they have boundaries with everyone else. They say no to others. They protect their time from others, but not from you. Why? Because you've shown them through your pathetic eagerness that your time has no value. Your energy has no price. Your presence is unlimited supply, so why would they treasure it? You sit there wondering why you're exhausted. You question why you feel empty after giving so much. You can't understand why helping everyone leaves you feeling so alone. It's because you've become a ghost in your own life. You exist only in relation to other people's needs. Remove their demands. And who are you? You don't even know anymore. Think about yesterday. How many times did you drop what you were doing to respond to something that wasn't urgent? How many times did you explain yourself when no explanation was needed? How many conversations did you have that drained you while the other person walked away refreshed? You're not having relationships. You're running a free therapy clinic where you're the only one who never gets treated. You've created a prison where the bars are made of other people's expectations. Every immediate response you give tightens those bars. Every yes when you mean no adds another lock. And the worst part? You hold the keys, but you're too afraid to use them because you think the prisoners might not like you anymore. Here's what happens in your twisted mind. Someone doesn't respond to you for hours, and you accept it. You respond in 2 minutes, and you think you're being polite. Someone cancels plans with you last minute. You understand. You need to reschedule, and you write a 3-paragraph apology. Someone sets a boundary with you. You respect it immediately. You try to set one, and you feel guilty for weeks. You've been programmed since childhood to believe your worth comes from your usefulness. Every time you helped mommy, you got praise. Every time you shared your toys, you were called good. Every time you put yourself last, someone patted your head. And now, you're an adult still chasing those head pats, except now they come in the form of being someone's emotional trash can. The game is rigged, and you're playing it perfectly wrong. You think if you're available enough, helpful enough, understanding enough, someone will finally see your worth and return the favor. But that's like pouring water into a bucket with no bottom and wondering why it never fills up. Your phone controls you more than you control it. That notification sound makes you jump like a trained dog. Someone's typing indicator makes you wait, holding your breath, ready to serve. You've become a reaction machine, not a human being with their own life, their own needs, their own sacred right to peace. You want to know the real joke? While you're sitting there feeling guilty about taking 5 minutes to respond to a text, the person who sent it already forgot they messaged you. They're not counting minutes. They're not analyzing your response time. Only you are torturing yourself with this imaginary scoreboard where you always lose. Let's talk about what's really happening here. You've become a character in everyone else's story, but you're not even the protagonist in your own. You're the supporting actor who shows up whenever the main character needs something. You're the background music that plays when things get tough. You're the safety net that appears just before someone hits rock bottom. You know that friend who only calls when their relationship is falling apart. You spend hours listening, advising, comforting. Then they get back together and you don't hear from them for months. You see their happy photos online. They're out with other friends. But you're filed away until the next crisis. And you accept this. You actually defend this. They're just busy, you say. They're going through a lot, you explain. No, they're using you as free therapy because you've shown them that's all you're good for. Here's a pattern you refuse to see. The people who demand your immediate availability are the same ones who make you wait. They'll send you a message at 11 p.m. expecting an instant response. But when you need them at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, suddenly they're so overwhelmed and need space. You respect their space. You give them time. You understand their boundaries. But yours don't exist because you never created them. You think you're being manipulated by master strategists. You're not. You're being played by amateurs because you make it so easy. You telegraph every insecurity, every need for approval, every fear of abandonment. You might as well wear a sign that says, "I'll do anything if you just pretend to care about me for 5 minutes." Watch what happens when you don't respond immediately. First comes the double text, then the hello, then the passive-aggressive, guess you're busy, then the guilt trip, I really needed you. And like a trained seal, you jump back in with apologies, explanations, making up for the terrible crime of having your own life for 30 minutes. You've created monsters, and now you're surprised they're devouring you. Every time you dropped everything to respond, you taught them your time was worthless. Every time you apologized for having boundaries, you trained them to violate them. Every time you explained yourself unnecessarily, you gave them ammunition to use against you later. The manipulation isn't even sophisticated. It's kindergarten-level emotional blackmail, and you fall for it every time. I thought you cared. You've changed. You used to be there for me. These are the phrases that make you crumble. These are the buttons they push to get their personal servant back in line. And you? You scramble to prove you haven't changed, that you still care, that you're still the same doormat they can wipe their feet on. You want to know something hilarious? The people you're killing yourself to be available for have you muted on their phone. They've got you on deliver quietly because your constant availability became annoying to them. You're like elevator music, always there, never really heard, certainly not valued. Here's what really happens in their minds when you're always available. They don't think, what a wonderful, caring person. They think, this person has nothing better to do. They don't see dedication, they see desperation. They don't recognize love, they recognize someone with no self-respect. And deep down, humans don't respect what they don't have to earn. You've noticed something, haven't you? The people who barely give you attention are the ones you chase hardest. The ones who make you wait, who cancel plans, who respond with one-word answers. They're the ones you analyze, worry about, try harder to please. Meanwhile, someone who actually shows up for you consistently. You take them for granted because they're too available. You've become the very thing you chase, and you don't even see it. The energy game is simple, but you complicate it with your need to be liked. Every interaction is an energy exchange. When someone messages you with their problems and you respond immediately with solutions, comfort, and attention, they get energy. You lose it. When they disappear after getting what they need, they keep that energy. You're left depleted. This isn't friendship, it's energy vampirism, and you're volunteering your neck. But when you stop playing, when you don't respond immediately, when you're not available for their emergency that isn't really an emergency, watch the panic, watch the multiple messages. Watch them suddenly remember you exist as more than just their emotional support system. They're not upset because they care about you. They're upset because their personal assistant isn't reporting for duty. If this is hitting close to home, if you're feeling that uncomfortable recognition in your chest, write in the comments, "I'm done being everyone's emergency exit." Let's see how many of you are ready to stop being the supporting character in your own life story. So you want to change? You want to stop being everyone's doormat? Good. But here's where you'll fail. You think you can do it nicely. You think you can set boundaries with a smile, withdraw politely, become unavailable while still being nice. That's your first mistake. Nice is what got you here. Nice is the cage you built. Nice is the weapon they use against you. The transformation begins with disappointing people, not accidentally, not apologetically, deliberately. Someone texts you while you're eating dinner. Let it sit there. Let it marinate. Let them wonder. Someone wants to trauma dump on you at 10 p.m. Don't even open the message. Someone needs you to drop everything for their non-emergency. Today, you're busy. No explanation, no apology, just busy. You think this makes you cruel? You know what's cruel? Using someone as an emotional garbage can, taking someone's energy without reciprocation, expecting someone to be available 24/7 like their customer service for your feelings. That's cruel. You saying no, that's just balance returning to the universe. Here's what happens first. Your phone becomes quiet, eerily quiet. The people who messaged you constantly suddenly vanish. You'll think you did something wrong. You'll want to reach out, to fix it, to apologize for having boundaries. Don't you dare. This silence is the sound of parasites falling off when the host stops feeding them. This is the sound of your energy returning home. The withdrawal symptoms hit you like a drug addict going cold turkey. You'll feel guilty, you'll feel selfish, you'll lie in bed thinking about all the people you're letting down. But here's the truth bomb. You were never lifting them up. You were enabling their emotional laziness. You were preventing them from developing their own coping skills. You were their crutch, and crutches keep people from learning to walk on their own. You want to know what real transformation looks like? It's being called cold, distant, changed, and not flinching. It's someone saying, "You're not the same person anymore," and responding with, "Thank goodness." It's watching people who claim to love you disappear the moment you stop serving them and feeling grateful for the clarity. The first week of being unavailable will reveal everything. Your phone stops buzzing constantly. Your anxiety about responding immediately starts to fade. You finish a meal without interruption. You watch a movie without checking messages. You have a thought that isn't about someone else's problems. You remember what your own voice sounds like when it's not apologizing or explaining. But here's where it gets interesting. After the silence comes the storm. The same people who ignored your needs will suddenly become very concerned about your well-being. Are you okay? Is everything all right? You seem different. Translation: why isn't my personal assistant responding? Where's my emotional support human? Who's going to solve my problems now? This is where you'll be tested. They'll use every manipulation tactic in their amateur playbook. They'll guilt you. They'll shame you. They'll rally others to check on you. They'll create emergencies. They'll suddenly remember your birthday 3 months late. They'll send you memories of better times when you were still their servant. Stand firm. Every attempt to pull you back is proof that you were right to leave. You know what happens after you pass these tests? Something magical. New people appear. People who respect boundaries. People who don't need you to be available 24/7. People who actually ask, "Is this a good time?" before launching into their issues. People who reciprocate energy instead of just consuming it. These aren't new people, actually. They were always there. You just couldn't see them because you were too busy serving the vampires. Your old relationships will restructure or die. The friend who only called during crises. They'll either learn to include you in their joy or they'll find another therapist. The family member who expected immediate responses. They'll either respect your boundaries or reveal they never respected you. The colleague who treated you like Google. They'll either figure it out themselves or show everyone what they really thought of you. Here's the part that will shock you. The people who truly matter won't leave. They'll adjust. They'll respect the changes. They might even say, "Good for you. It's about time." These are your real people. Everyone else, they were just tourists in your life, there for the free amenities. You'll discover something profound in your unavailability. You actually have a life to live. You have hobbies you forgot about, dreams you put on hold, projects you never started, books you never read, skills you never developed, all because you were too busy being on call for people who wouldn't cross the street for you. The most powerful thing about becoming unavailable isn't what you lose, it's what you gain. You gain time that's actually yours, energy that stays in your system, peace that isn't interrupted every 5 minutes, relationships based on mutual respect rather than your usefulness. You gain the most valuable thing of all, yourself. But here's the ultimate truth you need to accept. Some people will never forgive you for choosing yourself. They'll paint you as the villain in their story. They'll tell others how you changed, how you became difficult, how you're not who you used to be. Let them. Their opinion of you is no longer your business. Your business is your peace, your growth, your energy, your life. You're going to become a mystery to people who thought they had you figured out. You're going to become unpredictable to those who relied on your patterns. You're going to become valuable to those who took you for granted. Not because you're playing games, but because you're finally playing for your own team. If you're ready to disappoint some people to find your peace, if you're ready to be called difficult while you build your boundaries, type "My peace is not negotiable" in the comments. Let's build an army of people who refuse to be on call for those who wouldn't answer their call. The choice is simple. Stay available and stay exhausted, or become selective and become powerful. Stay reactive and stay drained, or become responsive and become sovereign. Stay nice and stay used, or become firm and become free. Your unavailability isn't punishment for others. It's medicine for you. It's the antidote to years of people-pleasing poison. It's the cure for approval addiction. It's the surgery that removes the tumors of toxic relationships. It's painful, it's necessary, and it's the only way to save your own life. Starting tomorrow, you're not the same person. Tomorrow, you don't respond immediately. Tomorrow, you don't explain your boundaries. Tomorrow, you don't apologize for having a life. Tomorrow, you begin the practice of being unavailable to anything that disturbs your peace. And tomorrow, everything changes.